Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are digging into a whole stack of material. We've got international road tests, dealership info, spec sheets, all focused on the huge redesign of the 2026 Nissan Leaf.
Okay, so let's just set the stage here. This isn't just a minor update. We're talking about the third generation of the car that basically created the mass market EV segment, way back in 2011.
It's an icon, but the second generation, it was starting to feel its age,
Yeah.
especially on things like range and charging speed.
Yeah, and now the sources are calling this a drastic metamorphosis.
And it really had to be. Look, the Leaf moved over 700,000 cars globally,
Yeah.
almost 300,000 just in Europe. But the game has totally changed.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to figure out if Nissan pulled it off. Did they turn this, aging pioneer into a modern EV that's actually affordable, desirable, and well-equipped?
That's the magic formula right there.
Yeah, before we jump into the new car, there's this one fascinating detail. The sources point out that even the old Leafs are still working.
Oh, the airport batteries, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. There are 84 decommissioned batteries from the second-gen cars that are now powering a huge energy storage system at Fiumicino Airport.
Which is just a perfect example of that circular economy idea. It shows that utility doesn't just stop when the car does.
And I guess the 2026 model has to build that same kind of long-term relevance.
It does. And the very first step was making a really clean break from the past visually.
Absolutely. The most obvious thing is that the hatchback shape is just gone.
Completely gone.
The LAF is now what the sources call a slippery-looking subcompact crossover. It's got that full SUV styling.
It was a necessary move. The market wants crossovers. But what's so interesting is that while it looks bigger, it's actually a little more compact than the old one.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's 3 inches shorter overall. The wheelbase is a tiny bit tighter, too.
So they gave it the crossover look, but kept it easy to park. That's smart. But I'm guessing the main goal wasn't just looks. It was about efficiency, right?
Huh?
Cutting through the air.
Exactly. This was a huge aerodynamic effort. You can see it in the sloping fastback roofline, the retractable door handle.
The flat underbody. All those little tricks.
Right. And it all adds up. The drag coefficient, the CX, it drops from 0.29 on the old model down to, well, some European sources even say 0.25.
Okay, so
Yep.
for those of us who don't live in a wind tunnel, what does a 4-point drop in CX actually get you?
It's a huge deal. Think of it like you're constantly driving with a slight brake applied. Reducing drag is like taking your foot off that invisible brake,
So more range for free, basically.
especially at highway speeds.
Huh.
A 0.25 CX is what you'd expect from a high-end luxury sedan, so for a value EV, that translates directly into maximizing every last mile from the battery.
And they managed to do it with some style, too. I was really intrigued by this 2-3 design theme. It's a cool little nod.
It is. It's subtle, but it's everywhere once you start looking. It's a reference to the Japanese pronunciation of Nissan 2 and 3.
So you see it in the lights.
In the lights, yeah. 2 horizontal and 3 perpendicular elements, but it's also on the wheels, the charge port door, even inside the cabin. It gives the car a real identity, which, the old ones kind of lacked.
It's a total overhaul. Sharp LED headlights, a gloss black panel up front. It feels much more coupe-like now. A clean break.
But the real question is, did they match that sleek new look with performance that actually matters? Because this is where the transformation becomes critical.
Well, they started with a big upgrade under the floor. The new standard model gets a 75 kilowatt-hour liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery.
And that phrase, liquid-cooled, is so important for anyone who knows the Leaf's history.
Right, that was its Achilles heel, wasn't it? The old air-cooled battery.
It was. It led to faster degradation, especially in hot climates. So adding liquid cooling isn't just an upgrade, it's them fixing the car's biggest historical flaw. It ensures the battery will last longer and perform consistently.
And the power's up, too. The top version has 214 horsepower, 261 pound-feet of torque.
And it feels agile. The road tests out of Copenhagen said it felt quick, quiet, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 7.6 seconds. That's a proper modern EV.
But the number everyone really cares about is range. And this is where it gets good. The new Leaf breaks the 300-mile barrier.
The magic number.
The S-Plus trim is estimated at up to 303 miles in the U.S., or get this, 622 kilometers on the European cycle.
Psychologically, that is so important for buyers. Breaking 300 miles just erases so much anxiety, and it puts the Leaf ahead of key rivals.
Yeah, the Hyundai Kona Electric is at 260 miles max, and the Kia Niro EV is at 253.
So this completely repositions the Leaf. It's a long-distance car now.
I did notice something interesting in the specs, though, about the trims. That top range, 303 miles, that's for the S-Plus trim, probably on 18-inch wheels.
Hmm.
But if you go up to the fanciest Platinum Plus trim with the bigger 19-inch wheels, the range estimate drops to 259 miles.
Wow, that's a huge drop.
It's 44 miles of range you lose just for bigger wheels.
That's a fascinating trade-off. You lose almost 15% of your range for aesthetics. It really forces you, the buyer, to choose between looks and pure practicality.
It shows how hard they fought for every single mile of efficiency. Speaking of which, one of the real-world test drives they mentioned recorded 13.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers.
And just to put that number in context for you, that is excellent. It's incredibly frugal. It confirms that all those aerodynamic tweaks are really working.
So better performance, better battery, much better range. The last piece of that puzzle is charging speed, and they went big here.
They had to. The old car topped out at 50 kilowatts for DC fast charging, which is just slow.
Painfully slow. The new Leaf jumps to 150 kilowatts.
That's the modern standard. It means you can go from 10% to 80% in about 35 minutes, which is respectable.
And they've also improved how it charges in the cold, right?
Yes, using waste heat from the motor to warm the battery. And a heat pump is standard. It all means more consistent charging, no matter the weather.
But the wildest part, I think, is the dual charging ports. This is where Nissan is really wading into the charging wars.
This is a really unique strategy. On the passenger side, you've got an NACS port, the Tesla-style plug, so it's future-proofed.
Right.
But on the driver's side, they kept a J1772 port for all the existing Level 2 chargers out there.
So it works with everything, right out of the box. But why two ports? Why not just one with an adapter in the trunk?
Because the transition is messy right now. This way, if you have an old charger at home, you just plug in, no fuss. If you're on the road and need a fast charge, you can use the NACS port to get on the Tesla supercharger network. It just removes all the friction for the driver.
And it goes the other way, too. The car can now charge other things. V2L, vehicle to load.
Up to 3.6 kilowatts, which is not a gimmick. I mean, that's enough to run power tools on a job site or, a small fridge and some lights if you're camping. It adds real utility.
Let's move inside. The cockpit looks completely modernized. They've moved away from all that plastic. Higher trims get these dual 14.3-inch screens.
And they have Google built in, which is a big deal. The Google Maps integration includes an EV route planner.
So it doesn't just show you where chargers are.
No, it actually predicts your battery level when you get to your destination. It takes a huge amount of stress out of a road trip.
And there's some really quirky luxury touches, too. I love that the top trim has a speaker built right into the driver's headrest.
It's a very high-end feature, right? It's for private phone calls or navigation directions, so you don't have to blast the whole car with sound from the 10-speaker Bose system.
It's a small detail that makes a budget EV feel not so budget.
And that electrically dimming panoramic roof, a first for Nissan, that even displays the Leaf logo when it's partly open. Just little things that elevate the experience.
But there had to be a compromise for that sleek roofline, and the sources say it's cargo space.
Yeah, that's the price you pay for that design. It's down to 20 cubic feet with the seats up.
Which is less than the Kona Electric or the Niro EV.
It is. Nissan clearly made a choice here. They prioritize style and that amazing drag coefficient over having the absolute most trunk space.
But it seems like a choice the market agrees with, which brings us to the awards this car won before it even launched.
This is pretty amazing. It swept the first ever Buzz Awards back in December 2025, won the Triple Crown, Car of the Year, Best EV, and Best Budget Vehicle.
That is a massive vote of confidence. But there was a quote from the judges that really gets to the heart of this. They said the Leaf makes good on a promise that other companies have failed to deliver.
An affordable, desirable, and well-equipped EV that just works.
Exactly. So let's talk about that affordability piece. How do they pack in a 300-mile liquid-cooled battery, 150 kilowatt charging, and those huge screens while keeping the price down?
It seems like it was a two-part strategy. First, using the massive scale of their global alliance to get battery and motor costs down. And second, being smart about where they put the expensive stuff.
So the base models get the essentials, like the good battery and range.
Exactly. And the really fancy tech, like the Google integration and the headrest speaker, that's saved for the higher trims. It's a smart way to manage value.
And it lets them hit that price point. The U.S. starting price is expected to be in the mid-$30,000.
And in Europe, it's confirmed at 36,900 euros. This is so critical. They're offering a feature-rich 300-mile EV for a price that significantly undercuts other cars with similar specs.
So to sum it up, the 2026 Leaf is this huge shift. So a crossover style, competitive range, fast charging, and a high-tech interior. But it's still, at its core, an affordable pioneer. It's a pretty amazing comeback.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to think about. That dual-port charging solution, the NACS and the J1772 ports together, it's a totally unique strategy right now.
A very pragmatic one.
Very. It offers immediate convenience with no compromises. So the question is, does this temporary hybrid approach set the standard for how all the other non-Tesla car makers should handle this messy charging transition? Is this the easy answer for all drivers, no matter which plug ends up winning the war?
It's a fascinating bridge technology that might just define the next couple of years of EVs. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the transformation of the 2026 Nissan Leaf. If you found this useful and want more analysis like this, please remember to follow the channel. We'll see you next time.